Hello dear aspirants, welcome to Goldfinch IS and KS Institutes, and from today I'm starting a new initiative that is for those who are writing actually their UPSC IAS examinations, that is in 2024 prelims. This is for particularly for them. So the entire economy, current affairs, whatever happened in 2023 and till the 2024, particularly till the month of May, I'm going to cover entire current affairs. For the time being, from 2023 January to December 2023, I'm going to cover entire economy, current affairs, including the concepts, which means I can tell you, I can definitely tell you 100% whatever the concepts were in news, everything will be covered with the conceptual part as well, which are very, very important. For example, the self-help groups, questions were asked, I'll cover that. The lead bank scheme, the question was covered in the prelims, I'll ask about it, I'll just discuss about it. Manrega program, etc., like that. You understood? This is a very, very important initiative. This is a very important series. This is made for you. You have to watch it till the end. Okay, that is the only request from my side. Watch the videos till the end. Okay, and be in this series for so long. So I will use very simple English and I will keep things very simple and make you understand, because economy, see, I'll just give you a challenge today. You go and search for GVA and explain me GVA. It is very difficult, correct? Because if you don't have a proper guidance, proper understanding of the concept, it is very difficult to understand these concepts, right? So the first topic which was in news, that is GVA. Why GVA was in news? GVA was in news actually in the context of GDP, because GDP is actually, there was a gap between GVA and GDP. There was a gap between GVA and GDP that was in news. Okay, let us just simply go through the definition first, then we'll see and try to understand what exactly GVA is all about. Okay, let's start it. So GVA is the output of the country less the intermediate consumption, which is the difference between gross output and net output. GVA is important because it is used in the calculation of GDP, a key indicator of the state of nation's total economy. So is anybody understood? Definitely not possible to understand what is GVA like this. Gross value added. The gross value added can be better understood, like let us take an example. There is a raw material, because the manufacturer required raw materials to manufacture something, no? Yes or no? So in the same way, there is a retailer. So let us take an example of raw material as normally I'll take an example here, farmer. The farmer grown wheat. Costing around 10 rupees. Farmer grown wheat costing around 10 rupees. And manufacturer, here I'll take manufacturer as baker, the one who is running the bakery or the owner of the bakery. So he buys the wheat. And he will make a wheat flour and he will prepare bread out of it. Which is costing around 20 rupees, right? The retailer, here I take an example of a restaurant, or a hotel, right? The restaurant or a hotel owner, so he will buy the bread from the baker and he will prepare sandwich, and that is for the cost of 30 rupees. You understood now? Listen carefully. Farmer's value addition is actually he is selling the commodity for 10 rupees. He also had his own value addition in that. And baker is actually preparing the bread, that is for the cost of 20 rupees. Got it? And sandwich is prepared for 30 rupees. Listen carefully. The baker bought the wheat for 10 rupees and he added his own value addition of 10 rupees. See, already wheat value is there. What is wheat value? It is 10 rupees plus 10 rupees extra added by the bread. 10 rupees extra value addition is added by the baker because he has prepared the bread by using wheat. And after taking the bread for 20 rupees, from the baker by the restaurant or the hotel owner. What he prepares? He prepares the sandwich. And what is his value addition? His value addition is 10. His value addition is 10 again. So earlier the farmer produced the wheat for 10 and the bread is made for, the bread value addition is 10 and the sandwich value addition is also 10. If you put together, what it becomes? 30. And what is the final value of the product? Is 30. The value sold in the market for 30 and the final GVA of the product is 30. That is gross value added, which means the value added in the each stages of the production of a product is GVA, gross value added. The first stage is 10, second stage the value addition is 10, and third stage value addition is again 10. Here is 10, here is 10, and this is 10. Total together is 30. So this GVA is nothing but the GDP. That is, GDP is how much? Here it is indicated, GDP is 30. Getting the point? This is the output. No, output is how much? 30. Then you can ask me, sir, then GDP and GVA, then why should we calculate it? It is not same. Because there is a mathematical difference between these two. Correct? Conceptually it looks like maybe the same. And see, 30 here is also 30. But it is not. Listen, where is the difference matters here? Because GDP is calculated at the market prices. GVA is calculated at the basic prices. There is the difference. You understood? So after understanding the basics of GVA, listen carefully. Gross value added, that is the value of output minus value of intermediate consumption, which means in the value of output we have to minus the value of intermediate consumption. Otherwise it is going to leading to double counting. No. See, for example, wheat is produced for 10, bread is produced for 20, sandwich is produced for 30. How much is the total? Total is 60. If we write 60, GDP will not count double, which means it is counting double. 1 to double, no, it actually only 30, but it is showing 60. This should not be done. That is the reason we make a proper calculation method. That is the reason we will only use the value addition of the product in each stages. You understood? So next is the reasons behind GVA, GDP and GVA gap. Because this was the news actually, because since 2015 we have changed the method of calculating the GDP. That is, the new GDP series has been adopted by the country, right? And we have changed the base year to 2011 and 12. From 2004 to 5, it was 2004 and 5. We have changed it into 2011 and 12 and became the primary measure of the output. That is GVA basic prices. This is very, very important. The GVA basic prices, listen carefully, doesn't include taxes, which means doesn't include product tax. Listen carefully, it doesn't include product tax. It does not mean it doesn't include any taxes. Listen carefully. Here I have explained GDP and GVA difference is GVA includes production tax and production subsidies. You understood? If you have not watched my videos, previous ones, you can watch, you'll understand what is production tax and production subsidies. While producing the commodities, taxes will be added in each stages of the production. That is production tax, and each stage of the production is also given production subsidies. Those taxes are there, but product taxes are not there. What is the example for product taxes? That is the GST. That is the SGST and CGST. Now it is made GST, no? So which means GVA at basic prices, meaning calculating the gross value added of the country before calculating or before imposing the GST. That is what the new method, right? The basic differences. Why the difference came between GDP and GVA? Because GDP is calculated at the market prices while GVA is calculated at the basic prices. You understood? So market prices meaning what? Market prices includes the taxes, the production tax, that is the GST. And the basic prices doesn't include production tax, it includes, doesn't include product tax, it includes production tax minus production subsidies. You understood? Next, other reason why GVA and GDP gap is there, because GDP growth lags GVA growth. GDP growth lags GVA growth when subsidies are high and taxes are low. Similarly, when tax collection is high and subsidies are low, GDP growth is higher than the GVA. Wow, how to understand this? It is very, very simple. Without mathematical calculation, it is very difficult to understand for you. Let me write the mathematical calculation here. Write GVA is equal to GDP plus subsidies minus taxes. This is what is the formula says. No, GVA meaning GDP plus subsidies minus taxes. Listen carefully. Here I'll write GVA is equal to, assuming that okay, GDP is somewhere around 100, plus take one number, one approximate number, that okay, subsidies for a country. See, why, first of all, think why government gives subsidies. For example, if you are running some very good industry, it is a labor intensive industry, correct? Large number of employment is created from your industry. Government definitely will give you subsidies because you are creating the jobs for large youths. Getting the point? That is the reason subsidies are given. Certain commodities are given subsidies, like if you use daily usable products and commodities, you can take, see, LPG cylinders, best example. LPG cylinders subsidies are given, no? So in the same way, government gives subsidies minus taxes. I'm assuming here around 100. Let me not take taxes as 100. Let me take it as 80. If I take it as 80, then what is the GVA here? GVA is equal to 100 plus, what is 50 here? Subsidy. 50 minus 80, it will become 30. And what is the total? That is 130. Correct? Listen carefully. Because in the earlier thing, what I said, listen, GDP growth lags GVA growth when subsidies are high and taxes are low. In this example, I kept the subsidies are high, that is 50, taxes are low, that is 80. That is the reason what is GDP shown. Because of the GDP, GVA is actually showing less. Let me take one more example here. Again, GVA is equal to GDP plus subsidies minus taxes. So GVA I assumed here, GDP I assumed as 100, right, in the second example, and plus I'll keep the subsidies at 30 in place of 50, and I'll keep the taxes as 100 in place of 80, because I have to show if taxes increases, subsidy decreases, what happens to GVA. I have to show that. So if 100, this is 100 plus, and 100 minus 30, it is 70, is equal to GVA. GVA is equal to 170. You listened it carefully. So with here in this example, we are showing GVA is higher. Here we are showing GVA is less actually. Why this difference? That is what the statement is saying here. GDP growth lags GVA growth. When GVA growth lags because of the GDP, because when subsidies are high. If subsidies are high, taxes are low, what is going to happen for GVA? GVA will be less. Correct? No. If subsidies are less, taxes are more, GVA will be more. This is the relationship between GDP and GVA. I hope you understood. You got it? And lastly, we'll move on to this. It calculates the national income by adding up all expenditure in the economy. Which one? That is GDP. This is about GDP. And what is this? It calculates the national income from the supply side by looking at the value added in each sector by the economy. This is very simple. Value added meaning, see, for example, there is a A company, B company, or A sector, B sector, C sector. You can take it as primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. That is agriculture, industry and services. So each is contribution is 100, 80 and 20. What is put together? 200. This is what is gross value added, GVA, which means gross value added of each sectors of the economy. Got it? So this is already calculated. That is GDP is equal to GVA plus taxes earned by the government minus subsidies. This we have already discussed in our previous videos about GDP. You understood how to calculate GDP? GDP meaning is equal to GVA plus taxes earned by the government minus subsidies. Right? So if you add gross value added and if you add the taxes, it will become GDP. That is what I said. right? GVA meaning if you add the GDP and plus subsidies minus taxes, if you subtract this two, then you will get GVA. That's what we have discussed here. No, I hope you understood this particular video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye bye. If you confused in between somewhere, you please go through the video once again. I hope you understood the concept. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. Bye bye.